to all the places where we walk. We will soon find your button.
They walked back to the large mountain. They began to look for the button in the tall grass.
Here's your button.
That is not my button. That button was black. My button was white.
Toad put the black button in his pocket. A sparrow flew down.
Excuse me, did you lose a button? I found one.
That is not my button. That button had 2 holes. My button had 4 holes.
Toad put the button with 2 holes in his pocket. They went back to the woods and looked on the dark path.
Here is your button.
That is not my button.
Toad
That
put
is my button was big.
Toad put the small button in his pocket. A raccoon came out from behind a tree.
I heard you were looking for a button. Here is one I found. That is not my button. That is not my button. That button was square. My button was round.
Toad put the square button in his pocket. Frog and Toad went back to the river. They looked for the button in the mud.
Here is your button.
That is not my button. That button was thin. My button was thick.
Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He was very angry. He jumped up and down screaming.
The whole world is covered with buttons and not one of them is mine.
Toad ran home and slammed the door. There on the floor he saw his white 4-hole big round button.
Oh, it was here all the time. What a lot of trouble I have made for Frog.
Toad took all of the buttons out of his pocket. He took his sewing box down from the shelf. Toad sewed